All right, so Good Company, man. I want to say 2012, I started like, I guess, wanting to be an entrepreneur. I just came home from the Air Force. Air Force didn't really work out for me. Just the culture. Some people make a really great living out of the military, but military is just definitely not for everybody. So I came home. I knew I had to figure things out. In 2010, I just had like surrendered my life to the Lord. I was on this transition of allowing God to lead my life, and for that, like, that was all new to me too. So I didn't really know how that was gonna work, but obviously everything intertwined. So I want to say it was 2011. That's when I really started thinking about wanting to be an entrepreneur. So at first I wanted to come up with a name. So the Good Company name, I'm from San Bernardino. So Good Company is spelled with an I-E. I believe the IE, obviously the Inland Empire, it's a region in California that doesn't really get a lot of love. Obviously, you think of LA County, Riverside County, Orange County. Inland Empire is just like kind of like the county that gets lost in the mix. So Good Company is spelled with the IE because I've always believed that San Bernardino was the heart of the Inland Empire. So that's where, the IE, like, fast forward to today, a lot of people actually use the IE now in their clothing brand. But I want to say, like, I didn't see anybody do it. Obviously I used the IE because it actually meant something to me, the Inland Empire and then San Bernardino. So I used the IE at the end of Good Company. And then the name Good Company, when I was coming up with a name, I wanted to think of a name that could relate to everybody from all walks of life. Because good company, it's like really something that we all need in life. We all need good company. Some of us have bad company, and some of us could say how bad company has actually influenced our life in such a way to where our life is miserable, we're depressed, we're making bad decisions, and a lot of that is just a byproduct of having bad people in your life. So me personally, I had a lot of bad company growing up. And believe it or not, I was probably like the leader in a lot of those groups that were considered, bad company. And bad company, it could be like a cancerous virus. Once it's in you, it kind of like spreads and it contaminates, everything around you. So I knew growing up how much bad company played a role in my life, how much I was around bad company. And being around bad company, I just made a lot of bad choices. So good company is the complete opposite. You value good people. You value good conversations. You value good relationships. I want to say that's what encompasses good company. And obviously in my own direction with just me pursuing God, I ended up finding out just being in the presence of God, spending that one-on-one time alone with God, being in that secret place where you're just praying, you're crying out, you're really in tune with the Spirit. I found out that being in the presence of God is really the best company that you could ever have. So that really is good company. And when you have God's company, like, God will bring the good company to your life. So that's how I got the name Good Company. It's a universal name. Everybody wants good company, it doesn't matter who you are or what you are. People value good company, and to be honest, like, we're living in a day and age where people don't have good company. People don't have good company. They don't have good relationships. We're actually living in a day and age where people are lonely, people are depressed, suicidal rates have gone up high. So good company is something very, very meaningful to myself. Once I started pursuing God and just the things of God, God started bringing, like, really, really good people into my life. People that kind of had the same commonalities as me. And obviously, Christ is like the main factor. Like, we could come from all walks of life, but if you have Jesus in your life, Jesus is like the glue. Jesus is what brings people together. Jesus is what cultivates the love. Jesus is what keeps the peace. I mean, you could look for peace, but he is the peace. This peace never runs out. This peace never runs dry. This peace never leaves you short. Like any other high in the world, you experience that high, you experience that euphoria, but you have to keep looking for it. You have to keep chasing it. Jesus is the real high that it really never goes away. So I started this little t-shirt with a G and a backward C, put it on a t-shirt. I put it out there, actually did really good response. I started selling t-shirts and hats first. I'll go to downtown LA like 3-4 times a week, buy t-shirts, buy hats, bring them all the way back to San Bernardino. I was setting up shop in the back of my mom's flower shop, and a lot of people could attest to this. Like when they went into the shop, they would see t-shirts, Stussy t-shirts, hats, beanies, socks. That's kind of how I started this journey of being an entrepreneur. And when you start a journey of being an entrepreneur, you make a lot of mistakes. That was my biggest mistakes, is thinking that the t-shirts and all these little accessories, I thought like this was gonna automatically like catapult me. But when you're driving to downtown LA 3-4 times a week, I'm driving an SUV. I was really spending a lot of money on gas. And once I was selling all these items, there really just wasn't much profit. So I started thinking, I was like, man, you know what? The t-shirts are cool. I'm getting a cool little vibe, a cool little response. But I was like, I gotta try something new. What could I incorporate? So at the time, I had already accumulated over like 100 pairs of shoes. I was always big into sneaker collecting. Like I actually camped out for shoes. I actually froze overnight, stood in the rain. I was a part of like the original camp out culture. Now I'm talking about 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004. I remember in 2001 when the cool gray 11s first dropped, we were at Montclair Mall, 2 a.m. I was like the fourth person in line. So if you never like, and this is before wristbands, this is before tickets, this is before a raffle even existed. Like this was pre all that. This is real camp out culture. This is real. If there's a pair of shoes that I want, I'm eating Top Ramen for 2 weeks. I'm eating cup of noodles. I'm eating off the dollar menu, just to get the $200 pair of shoes. We're sacrificing, so Montclair Mall, 2001. I remember, we were probably the third or fourth in line. Security came, wrote our name on the list. But I remember them opening the doors, and it was like a stampede. People are running. People got their bikes, they got their scooters, and they're just jetting to the store that has the cool gray 11. So I remember camping out for the cool gray 11. I remember camping out for the grape 5. I can't remember the grape 5, but I want to say that was a little bit after. I want to say that was 2003, 2004, maybe 2005. Same thing, Ontario Mills Mall. There's a store called Against All Odds. They're not even around anymore, but I was probably maybe the fifth in line. I was out there 2 a.m. Same thing, sneaker culture was really intense. I want to say there was at least 80 people out there, maybe 100 people. So, I was actually a part of the camp out culture. I don't know. You don't really hear a lot of people talking about that, but just being a part of that culture, man, it was fun, man. Being a young kid, not having to worry about, the struggles of life yet. And just really the main focus is how can I get the next pair? That was always about the love of the sneakers, is getting the next pair, finding out where the next pair is, doing some homework, what time to get there, calling all your boys so that you could have backup just in case things got a little crazy. So, back then, like, there was no such thing as cutting in line. Like, today, I hear about people cutting in line all the time. Back then, There was no such thing. Like, I'll give you an example. At the grade 5 camp out, I was there 2 a.m., fourth, fifth person there. Like, I had a friend that was coming. He's like, hey, Drew. He came like maybe 2 hours after me. He said, hey, Drew, I'm just going to get in line with you. And I was just like, bro, like, I was like, dude, that's like the forbidden thing. Like, bro, like, there's going to be an issue. And he was just like, nah, bro, we'll be cool. Like, I'll just slide in line with you. Nobody will notice. And I was like, okay, yeah, right. So, and I gave him a heads up. I said, bro, if these people start getting crazy, I'm not vouching for you. Because that's one thing that I hated is like if I saw you cut in line, I was the person that's speaking up. And I'm the person getting the whole crowd in the frenzy. I'm the one that's getting the whole crowd. We're about to pack you out in this line if you don't get out of line. So I told him straight out, I'm like, bro, I hated people that cutted the line. There was no tolerance. So I told him, I was like, bro, if you cut the line, I'm not vouching for you. He's like, oh, bro, cool, whatever. So dude gets there, tries to weasel his way into the line, gets behind me, and sure enough, probably the 15th person in the back of the line said, hey, bro, what are you doing? Like you think you're just gonna cut in line in front of all of us? And he was like, yeah, I've been here. And he was just like, you could even ask my boy. And I was like, bro, I told you, do not mention my name, because I already know. And the dude was just like, bro, I seen bro here at 2 a.m. Bro's good. You're not good. Like, I suggest you get to the back of the line or it's going to be some problems. So he was speaking up. The rest of the line was speaking up. And that's just how it was. That's just how the real sneaker culture was back then. There was a no tolerance for line cutting. Every time I camped out, there was zero tolerance. Like today, even within the last 10 years, I hear about people cutting all the time. I hear about people letting it slide. Like, this generation is soft. Like, how could you just let people cut in line? And you've been in line for 8 hours, 7 hours, and you're cold and you're freezing. So different, man. It's just a different generation. So no tolerance. So I grew up in the sneaker culture. I had over 100 pairs of shoes. I'm trying to sell t-shirts. I'm trying to sell hats. So I just had this idea, maybe I need to just start bringing some of my collection. So I brought like maybe 5, 6 shoes, started displaying it. And next thing you know, as the crowd came in, people were like, oh man, you're selling shoes now? And I was just like, well, not really, but, I'm thinking about it. But I just saw the buzz that I saw the eyes light up when people saw all these shoes and all the colorways and all the retros. So I started bringing shoes little by little, started making a cool little display. And that's when I started my journey of really selling shoes. I was on Shoe Game LA. I was on Sneaker Still, obviously hitting the Nike outlets and building relationships with managers at the Foot Locker, at the WSS, at all these shoe stores. And believe it or not, Sneaker Still back then, like, they would even put the location of the outlet that was selling the shoes, and they would have a telephone number. So back then, I would call in. It would be a Nike town in Wisconsin, a Nike town in Tennessee, and I'd find a cool little dope Nike Air Max for like $30, $40, but I knew it was a shoe that I could easily sell for 80, 90, 120. So I'd find all these little good deals on Sneaker Still. I'd call in and I'd order like 10 shoes, 8 shoes, 9 shoes. But obviously, and then Nike at the time was actually shipping out shoes. And they allowed that for like 4 or 5 year period. I took advantage of it. But when broke out, Sneakers Still got really popular. So they just put a halt to all that. But, I'd get like a cool $40 Nike Air Max, like a Nike type of retro looking shoe. And I would sell it easily for double, triple, even quadruple the profit. So I was getting stuff from Sneaker Still on a regular basis. I was selling shoes on Shoe Game LA. I'd meet with people outside of Flight Club, outside of Riff LA, or I'd even go to a spot like in Hollywood. Obviously, I was doing it through Craigslist as well. And back then, I was getting top dollar for every shoe, because every shoe that I had in my collection didn't get re-retroed out. And if you guys are familiar with how the sneaker culture works, when a shoe gets re-retroed, the value of the shoe, it plummets and it goes completely down. So I'll give you an example. That Grape 5 that I camped out for, I wore it a good amount of times. And I met somebody on Craigslist. I want to say I met somebody outside of Riff LA. And I sold a used Grape 5. I can't remember what year it was. I want to say maybe 2012, 2013. Used Grape 5, $275. Like, used shoe, $275. I'll give you another example. Tour 4. Tour 4, if you guys don't know about the Tour 4, that's a really hot shoe. You don't really see it a lot. I had worn that shoe a good amount of times. I don't want to say I beat them into the ground, but really wore them out. I met somebody outside of Shoe Game LA. I want to say I sold that shoe used like around $400, maybe $350. So I just was really selling these shoes. I sold the Playoff 8 before the Playoff 8 had re-retroed. I sold a brand new Playoff 8. I met somebody in Hollywood for it off Craigslist. I probably sold it for $300 to $350. And like I said, when that shoe re-retroed, that shoe plummeted down to around $200, $220. So I was selling every shoe that I had in my collection at just the right time. And this is before there was a big sneaker culture, before everybody wanted to be a reseller, before there was really a shoe industry, before sneaker reselling was at its infancy. At that time, there was only two really sneaker resale stores, and that was Flight Club and that was Riff LA. I can't really think of any sneaker resale stores. So I'm in San Bernardino. There's no sneaker reselling. There's no sneaker culture. So yeah, I'm going to say it. We were the very first in the Inland Empire. And if you're from the Inland Empire, you would easily know that. A lot of people just know that. So obviously the idea came from, I'm not going to say I came up with the idea, but the idea came from I see there's a culture in LA County. I might as well try to bring the culture to the Inland Empire County, seeing how I'm actually in the culture. I'm a part of the culture. I'm passionate for the culture. So I start, selling shoes in the back of the flower shop. I'm selling shoes on Shoe Game LA. I'm selling shoes on Craigslist. I'm selling shoes outside of Flight Club and Riff LA. And, and through every sale of all these shoes that I was selling, I was just reinvesting that money back into shoes. So I'm buying shoes off Sneaker Still. I'm buying shoes off the shoe groups. I'm buying shoes off Craigslist. I'm buying shoes from local retailers. I'm buying shoes from the Nike outlets, because during this time, sneaker reselling, a lot of people weren't doing it. So I want to say I had complete advantage, because when I went to a store, I'm not trying to beat anybody from being there first. Today, you got 20, 30, 40 resellers at every store, and they're checking round the clock. So definitely a different day and age. So I start selling shoes out the back of the flower shop. Then I meet a guy who was already sneaker reselling, an older guy. Shout out to B from Six Ring Legends. I met him, and he was already doing the sneaker reselling already, so he pretty much consigned 100 pairs of shoes in the back of the flower shop. So next thing you know, the little shop that I have in the back of the flower shop, it goes from being a hat store, from being a t-shirt store, and being an accessory store, to being like a shoe store, because now I got 100+ pairs. I got Jordans, I got Nike shoes, I got basketball shoes. I can't even say Dunks, because Dunks weren't really popping back then. So Air Force Ones, I want to say we even had Vans. So now people are coming in, and now they're just seeing a whole display of shoes. So that gives the store a bigger buzz, because we go from being like a t-shirt accessory store to being like a shoe store. Now I'm just, we go from like having 100 pairs to having like 140 pairs. So now I'm outgrowing this little lot of space in the back of the flower shop. So now I ended up, maybe like a couple months later, as I'm saving up my money from all the shoes that I'm selling. So now I have enough money to rent out the space in the back of the flower shop, which it used to be a income tax place. It used to be a photography spot. It was vacant. My mom owns the building. So I would ask my mom, while she had a tenant, like, hey, let me rent out the spot. My mom was like, no. And I was like, why not? I'm your son. She was like, because you're just having fun. She was like, you need to get a real job. You need to stop playing around trying to sell these shoes. Like, you need to grow up and get a real job. So she was the one like that was always like against me selling shoes. At the time, she had a real successful boyfriend, and he was a millionaire, and he would just kind of come in and he would look at my little display and he would just kind of frown, and he'd be like, oh, so you want to sell shoes the rest of your life? And so, it was really discouraging, because my mom had a vacancy, and I was like, hey, Mom, I just want to rent it out, and I'll pay the same amount, all your tenants are paying. And she was like, no, you just really need to get a real job. I feel like you're just having way too much fun. And when your parents are like working hard for the dollar that they're making, and they see you having fun, they kind of don't look at it as like real work. So it was a photography spot. It was vacant. I asked her, I said, hey, let me rent it out. She was like, no. She allowed a tax person to come in. And how many of you know, man, when God's timing is God's timing. God's timing is perfect. So she's denying me. I'm not asking for a discount. So literally, this is what causes her to be open to it. The income tax place gets flooded. Like that don't even make no sense. So it's flooded. The whole office space gets damaged. So the current tenant is like, yeah, like this ain't gonna work out. It's flooded. Our desks are ruined. The carpet is ruined. Like, we're not gonna pay you. Like, we're leaving. So my mom, basically, they didn't pay the rent. They ended up going through this big old feud. And I told my mom, I was like, see, like, you want to deny me? I'm your son. I'm not even asking for a discount. So that had to be a miracle, because how it got flooded was it was weird. Like, they left the faucet on, and for some reason, like the water shot up in the air. Like, that didn't make any sense. And the whole place just got flooded. Was it God? I mean, I think it was God showing my mom, like, you want to deny your son, and like I'm gonna show you that you got these tenants in here. Like, they were always late paying rent anyway, and my mom getting the rent money, that was always a struggle. So obviously it had to be God, because for the whole place to get flooded, that don't even make sense. So now the place is flooded. My mom is out another tenant. She loses a couple $1,000s because of all the damages. So I'm like, okay, Mom, like, see, like, you keep denying me. Like, I think you just really need to understand, like, you denying me is causing more friction in your life. Me being your son, like you should give me the opportunity, So she's like finally at her wit's end. You can have it, whatever. She's like, you can have it. You pay me the same amount. I'm like, whatever, good. Like, I don't even get the son discount. I'm still good, right? So now I'm in the shop. We paint the shop. We put graffiti in there. We make it look nice, up to date. And, now it's a legit shop. It's a brick and mortar shop. I mean, when you look at the pictures, I had one small display, couple pairs of shoes, but the thing is that I didn't have a big investor. I didn't come from money. I didn't have a rich uncle. I didn't have a rich mom. I didn't have a rich dad. In today's age, you see a lot of youngsters really making a lot of money And man, like, hats off to them. But for a person like me, I got it out the mud. Didn't have no investor, didn't have no rich family member. Like, I literally pieced out every shoe to save enough money to get to, to start opening up this brick and mortar location. So, we're in the shop, we're doing good, and business picks up little by little, and then we just start opening up. Like, it's a full-blown consignment store. So now people are bringing in consignment, we got more inventory, shop looks more full. Obviously, like, when you look at the pictures, like, it looks crazy because in the beginning I only had a couple shoes, but as time progressed, more consigners came in, we did more buyouts, and then from there, I was already on this path of seeking God. So God already had gave me the vision, once I get the shop, that, in the shop, you're going to have Bible studies. In the shop, people are going to come in, you're going to pray with them, you're going to love on them, you're going to serve them. And, and because the shop's going to profit, you're going to have all these community outreaches. So as the shop started profiting, we always set a portion aside, because, we're in the community. Like, I mean, if you value your community, you should want to invest into the community. So we're profiting, so we're setting a portion aside for each sale, and we're reinvesting that money into the community. We started doing outreaches, barbecues, give backs, shoe giveaways, and, like, people started seeing it, and that's what allowed our business to really prosper, to grow, because, people knew that we were all about community. Like, yeah, people have their comments, whatever. Oh, you're selling shoes for 200, 300, 400. I mean, you can't please everybody in this business. You can't please everybody. So, people would have their comments. Oh yeah, you guys are doing all, you guys are the shoe store, but you're selling shoes at these exotic prices. But, I mean, the shoe game is what it is. Some shoes are worth a lot. Some shoes aren't worth a lot, So we always had that range where, we had a $60 shoe. You had $60, we got something for you. You got a 120, we got something. 142, 400, 500, we got something for you. So we've always been a store that had a price range for everybody. We had a budget for everybody, and so through all the giveaways, through all the barbecues, then that just brought more traffic to the shop, because, to be honest with you, people started coming to the shop simply off the fact because of the community service that we did. I'd have people come in all the time, and they'd be like, hey man, like, I come shop here simply because of the work you do in the community, because we always help a lot of single moms. We always help a lot of their kids. So we're always taking care of families. And, once people saw that, and they saw the genuineness, and just in the heart of our ministry, like you have to understand, like, some people will do these good deeds. Some people will do like a giveaway or a give back just for clout or for notoriety. Like, we've been doing it for over 10 years, and we did it before we had a following. We did it before we had a lot of shoes. We did it since day one. So because I hear today, oh, like, yeah, like, for the people that are new and following us, oh, like, yeah, you guys are just doing that for clout. You guys are just doing that for likes. We've been doing it since 2012. We've been doing it. You could go to our video. We did our first giveaway in a dirt field on Loma in Linwood. If you know about Loma in Linwood, people are scared to go to Loma in Linwood. And that's who we were. We went to the hardest parts. West Side San Bernardino, East Side San Bernardino, every hood in San Bernardino. We're pulling up. We're feeding people. We're loving on people. We're preaching the gospel. We're bringing love to the community. And that's the definition of good company. Like, yeah, we're a shoe store, but yeah, we're a community store. We look out for the community. We look out for the single mom. We look out for the struggling teen. We look out for the struggling dad. And, we do our best, just to meet the needs of the people. And if every business would model just taking care of community, like I guarantee you, like businesses would flourish more, businesses would succeed for it. Because I think the average business person, they think about profit, obviously, but they think about just getting ahead for themselves. And, like our purpose in life, like if you don't know your purpose is the value that you add to the next human being. So we're living in a life where people are not walking in purpose, they're not fulfilling their purpose. Like if you're a business owner, being a business owner is your occupation. That's your job title. That's not specifically your purpose. Purpose is you giving. Purpose is you serving. Purpose is you making an impact on another human being. And this is the truth. If you're not living purpose, you're empty. You're looking. You're looking for the next feel good. You're looking for the next party. You're looking for the next hobby. You're looking for the next hustle. You're looking for the next thing to bring you fulfillment. And this is the truth. If you're fulfilling purpose, you don't look for anything because you're already satisfied. So, I'm walking in purpose. I'm living my purpose. I'm giving purpose. I'm giving hope to others. And, being 11 years in, 3 stores, obviously, this last year, man, was probably, the state of the shoe game is just, it's different. Like, if you really want to be honest, like everybody wants to be a sneaker reseller. So many people have tried it. So it's what it's done. It's like, it's kind of flooded the market to where, everybody is just selling like the same thing. And, everybody's buying up everything off the shelves. So the state of the sneaker market, man, like if you don't have a name, if you don't have a brand already established, like it's going to be hard for you to adjust and maneuver through the current state of 2024. Like if I'm a new person and I open up a brand new store, like you'd be crazy to think like you're just going to do good. Like, man, it takes years to build a brand. It takes years to build like clientele. It takes years to develop relationships and build on those relationships. So the state of the sneaker game right now, man, it's scary, man. If you don't have a name, if you don't have a brand, like that's why you see people getting out. That's why you see stores closing down. I mean, I hear about stores closing down left and right. I hear about people that used to be a sneaker reseller. They're just packing it up and they're dumping everything and they're about done. But there is a few people, like obviously the OG people, like shout out to obviously the originators, Flight Club, Riff LA, those are the originators. I'm pretty sure, I think everybody's taking a hit, but I want to say like the people that have been around, it's going to be easier for them to maneuver and to adjust. I'm not going to say it's going to be easy, but even for like a smaller mom and pop company like us, like that didn't come from money, we're facing our challenging times as well. But, we do the best that we can to give out affordable prices. We do the best that we can to always have a wide variety. We always got something. We got hype shoes. We got cheap shoes. We got beaters. We got new. We got used. We still today, man, we pride ourselves on having a budget for every person. And, one thing that has helped us, moving into our 3rd location here in downtown Pomona, we started doing these giveaways. God, I was kind of like asking God in my alone time, like, man, it's getting a little hard, it's getting a little tight. What can we do? And like God showed me like start giving away shoes, and I'm like, what? Like, we're struggling. Like, start giving away shoes, and he's like, yeah, start giving away shoes. Keep doing what you've already have, but just do it a little more and showcase it a little more, because the truth is like we do a lot of giving, but I want to say 80% of what we give isn't even promoted. So you might see us giving away a shoe, but a lot of people don't know. I have a weekly outreach team of 30 to 40 volunteers. Sometimes I have, like peak season, I have like over 100 to 120 volunteers. So what some people know, but a lot of people don't know is that I have a weekly outreach team that shows up every Saturday, and they still go to, remember, 10 years, guys. This is a track record of 10 years, because a lot of people do these giveaways just to garner attention. Like, we've been doing it for over 10 years. So we have an outreach team of 30 to 40 people. They show up every Saturday, 9:30 a.m. at the Arrowhead Campus Church. They go to the hardest and the toughest neighborhoods in San Bernardino. They bring food, they bring love, and they bring support. And they love people back to life with the love and power of Jesus Christ. And man, we have endless testimonies of single moms getting off drugs, of single moms losing their kids to the system. But because we were there, we walked them through the toughest moments of their life. We prayed with them. We loved on them. We brought them to church. We picked them up. We brought them food. Like, people have no idea of the thousands of families that we've been able to reach. Single moms, single dads, grandmas that are taking care of their grandkids. Like, people, like, I would go to a house in San Bernardino, and the mom would open up their house, and I kid you not, kids would be eating on the floor because they had no furniture. They had no table. They had a refrigerator. The refrigerator would always be empty. I would see this on a week-to-week basis. Like you think of struggling in like third world countries, like there's a third world there's poverty like in our own communities. So like we would do that week in, week out, and fast forward 10 years later, I still have a team of 30, like on a small end, 30 to 40 individuals still keeping that mission and vision alive. And it's never just been about shoes. It's never just been about money. Like, yeah, like the shoes are a means to money to help people, because, you know, obviously when you get money, like this stuff costs. Like, you know, buying a single mom a refrigerator, who's paying for it? Buying a single mom a table, like those kids that were eating on the floor, that's what we do. We find needs and we meet needs. So when we meet a family, we find their needs, we meet their needs. So what did we do? We went to a furniture store. We bought them a table, brought them a table. We went to Stater Brothers, got them the family chicken meal. You get an 8-piece fried chicken with a macaroni or potato salad or potato. You get bread. Bam, we're bringing them the chicken dinner. We're going to Juan Pollo, getting them the mini family pack. You know, we're buying the mattresses. So like a lot of people know, well, a lot of people don't know that when you buy a pair of shoes from us, you are literally helping a struggling family, because you're putting food on a family's table that they may not have food. And I've seen it firsthand where we bring groceries and people say like, you're an answered prayer. And I say, why would you say that? Because we have no food in our table, and we just literally said, what are we going to eat tonight? So you know, the story behind, you know, the success of our company is not that, you know, in 2024 we're able to open up a third store. The success is all the families that we've been able to reach and we continue to impact. You know, fast forward, we're still meeting once a week. Actually, today we have 3 teams that go out every week. We're still doing the barbecues, you know, and God has given us a platform to where we've been able to do our new outreach, which is called Save Souls and Reach Souls, where we've been able to go to all over. We've been able to go to Pennsylvania, Baltimore, Jersey City, and we've been able to give shoes away in all these communities. And it's simple. We reach souls through the preaching of the gospel of Jesus Christ, and we give souls by giving them a nice pair of shoes. So it's saving souls and giving souls. So yeah, guys. You know, I'm just blessed and fortunate, you know, growing up in the city of San Bernardino, born and raised East Side San Bernardino, Dade Street. If you know where Dade Street's at, you know, I grew up, I saw death, you know, all around my you know, first death was I lost my father at 16, and, you know, at 19 years old, I lost my best friend. He was murdered. And, you know, a little while after that, 2 of my friends committed suicide to heroin addiction. They hung themselves. A little while after that, a friend of mine was shot point blank range at a car wash. A little while after that, my other best friend, he died in a tragic car accident. And a little while after that, my friend was stabbed to death by his father. So growing up, like all I saw was repeated death. And if you would have asked me at like 21, 22, 23 years old, like, Drew, like, what's your goal in life? I would have told you that my goal in life is to be 30 years old, because I really believed that to be past 25 was going to be like a real miracle, because I grew up, I grew up in a really tough part of San Bernardino where you saw death so much that believe it or not, like being on a rest in peace t-shirt was kind of like legendary status. Like you were considered a legend if you died young, and we grew up glamorizing like Biggie and Tupac. Like a lot of people really don't think about it. Like Biggie and Pac, they died at 25 years old. So we're growing up like glamorizing death, living a lifestyle that leads to death. One can only expect death, and obviously I lost my father at 16, so I started selling drugs at 16. This is 2002, before Kush was Kush. Like, if you guys know, it was stress. Stress was the thing that was it. Like, so I started selling pounds of marijuana of stress, and next thing you know, I buy 1 pound, I buy 2 pounds, and next thing you know, I'm buying more pounds, and next thing you know, I'm buying pills, and next thing you know, my best friend's selling crystal meth. Next thing you know, my other best friend is selling heroin. So in our whole circle, we're just young, man. We're young, living dumb and living reckless, and I think it's easy to get in the mix when you're just around bad company. So that's why it's really important to have good company. And so like if you would have asked me at 23, I would have said 30. Like that's my goal. I wouldn't even have told you I want to be a business owner. I wouldn't have told you I want to get a good job. I wouldn't have told you I want to have a wife and a nice house. My God honest answer was like I'm dreaming, I'm wishing, I'm hoping, I'm praying that I can make 30 years old, because this is what I believe, that I believed if I could make it to 30, that I believe I had a shot to do something. So, guys, I'm nothing short of a miracle. Today I'm 39 years old. I got a wife. Been married 8 years. We have 3 beautiful children. We have 3 stores. I've been able to travel the United States of America, and I've been able to preach at churches in New York, New Jersey, Baltimore, Pennsylvania, just to name a few, Arizona, New Mexico, Oregon. I got a few more spots, new spots this year. I'm going to be going to Minnesota, Milwaukee. God's just, it's crazy to think that a little shoe hobby, but as I'm closing, I want to encourage you guys, like, if you're faithful with a few, like when I started selling shoes, all I had, I started selling in the trunk of my car. Like if you're faithful with a few, as long as you're faithful with what you have, and you're responsible with what you have, like God will bless it. God will allow it to prosper. And if you're putting God first, man, you cannot fail. You could only succeed. And my greatest reward is not that I get to sell a pair of shoes, but the greatest impact is that I am impacting people, and I am impacting the souls.